Mhm. There we go.
Okay, we are live.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Let's see. Nobody's on yet, of course.
Mm.
I always kind of figured, like doing these live shows on Friday nights.
Yeah, man.
But then I put a poll out there, to all my viewers, and a lot of them were like, no, we prefer 7 o'clock on Friday. I even put the days out of the week, and majority of the voters went towards Friday.
Yeah, I think sometimes people know then that it's stress free, Like because during the week we got kids, you got things to do and stuff like that. And
that's
sometimes Friday's
that's
a little bit less stress for most people, I think.
That's probably what it is. But yeah, but why don't I go ahead and do a little bit of introduction? We are back, Chichi fams. If you guys are watching this for the first time, make sure you guys like and share this live stream. We're gonna be going over insurances today. I know sometimes people don't really like to go over insurance and talk about all that, but I think we have a good one today. I have John Mckenzie here. Uh, Pretty sharp dude. He's been in business for a while, but I'll let him do an introduction later with all you guys. But just kind of like how we always start these live streams, I want to just do a quick market update for all of you guys. So that way we can see what's going on right now in Sac County, Placer, and El Dorado County. As far as inventory, sold homes, the data. You guys like data, so I want to at least share the data with all of you guys. But if you guys are watching this for the replay, if you guys are not subscribed, make sure you do that as well. But okay, I'm just gonna share my screen and go over to this sheet. Okay, you guys all know this right here. Let me just hit this. I wonder if I did based off of today, what's gonna show? Let's see. Let's do 3, 2, 2. Sacramento, El Dorado, and Placer. Man, right now, active homes, active homes right now in a count in 3 counties. John, guess how many homes?
7.
It feels like 7, right? But it's actually 122 homes for sale in 3 counties.
That's insane.
That is insane, right?
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. Let's kind of Yeah, let's go to pendings. Pendings. There's 24 pendings right now.
Well,
Actually, hold on. There's 37 pendings. 37 homes pending in 3 counties. Let's see how many closed.
is this just data that's pulled up on your laptop now or your desktop?
It's on my desktop. Yeah. 28 homes that sold today, and 100 plus homes for sale. Oh man, what's going on, Chai? Can't wait for knowledge being thrown out. I can't wait to share knowledge with you too, Chai. Okay, so that's a market update for you guys, y'all. 100 plus homes. Man, it's not a lot at all. And this is for today, okay? This is for as of today. There's 100 plus homes for sale, so it's not a lot. Okay, we got a few more people that's on board right now. So I'll just do a little bit of a quick introduction again. Housekeeping, I guess. If you guys are just tuning into the live stream now, make sure you guys put your questions and comments in the live chat so that way we can answer them first. Today we have a insurance rep here, and he's gonna be going over with you guys why you guys need insurance in real estate. Not hopefully not just in real estate, but all aspects of your life, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't done it yet, make sure you click the like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you guys are not part of the Chi fams, make sure you guys subscribe. And let's get going. You ready, John?
I'm ready, mate.
All right. You know, it's so funny that you call me mate. Nobody in my life has ever called me mate.
It's just for you, man.
So so
Just for you.
so
Special.
that's how I know that you have a sort of accent in you because you call me mate.
Yeah, it's South Africans actually don't commonly use mate so much, but we do from time to time. But just something I've picked up. I feel like it's a bit disarming. I think, you
It
know.
is. When you called me that earlier, and then I'm like, oh shoot, he called me mate. I thought that that was just like a movie thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for most Americans, yeah, probably is a movie thing because we don't really say it too often around here.
Oh man. Okay. Well, take it, man. Do a quick introduction. Let everybody know who you are, and then just take it from there, John.
All right, absolutely. So I'm John Mckenzie. I'm an insurance agent with Liberty Mutual Insurance. I guess because of like the history, I guess you've had some other people on the show that may have taken down their videos. I guess I'm not really representing Liberty Mutual Insurance in a full capacity. I guess I'll just do it as an insurance expert. So take anything with a tiny grain of salt. We are all human. Everything that I'm saying is going to be truthful to my knowledge, and all that good stuff. I'm not going to deliberately mislead anyone at all. But obviously, once you make your decisions, also, just review them as well and just make sure you have a good insurance, agent or expert in your corner to kind of help you out. But again, like I said, my name is John Mckenzie. Some people might know me as James Mckenzie as well. Um, and I also go by JJ in the office just to kind of keep it short. I've been in the insurance business for about 5 years now. I got this job directly out of college. I was an intern, and then I became an insurance agent through that way. I work with someone named Melissa Messer, and we work as a team here at Liberty Mutual. Um, that's basically it. I live here in Roseville, so I'm pretty invested in the community. I lived here a real long time, and I went to Chico State for a finance degree, and then I came back, and that's about it. Let's go from there.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for that introduction right there, John. We got some live chat comments coming in. So Ali Cake says, I feel like there's less and less homes for sale. There is, unfortunately, but hopefully summer more inventory is gonna come. But after yesterday watching that Biden proposing the new tax changes, it's scary. So
Mm.
stay tuned. I got a video coming up about how I feel about the new tax changes and what that's gonna affect the real estate industry. So stay tuned for that. That's why you guys gotta be subscribed, so that way you guys know when I upload that video. And then another one is from Tam. What if my drunk teenager text and drive, hitting budgets of family? Will my payoff home be taken away with lawsuit?
Oof.
That's for you, man.
Absolutely. Wow, man. Hard questions first, man. Yeah. Typically we don't kill people in our scenarios, but I guess in this one. Yeah, so I mean, if you know it or not, like I mean, anyone that's driving your vehicle, you're going to be that named insured to that, right? So even though your kid doesn't own your vehicle, you're still responsible for it in that capacity, and your insurance is going to be primary on that vehicle. Like we like to say that the insurance follows the vehicle. So even if your friend borrows your vehicle, it's not going to be 100% on them. Your insurance is going to be primary on that, and that's what's going to pay out first. And then their insurance, hopefully, if they have it, their auto insurance is going to pay out on behalf of that. That'll be secondary. Now, if your kid's out there drinking and driving in families, hopefully no car involved for that kid. Maybe you take those privileges away, but obviously things happen. Yeah,
Oh
it's a real thing that can happen to you. If you and I have some snares a little bit later on, and that's why I highly recommend umbrella policies. Basically, it just extends your liability insurance by one, two, three, or $5 million typically, and that's what's going to help protect your investment. So you're talking about your home there. In California, you probably won't have your home taken away from you, but you probably have something like a lien pulled against you. All your assets are in jeopardy. Um, Anything you might have had saved, your vehicles, anything that might have a little bit of equity is going to get a lien against it, or if not taken away from you, if you are sued for $1 million and your limits don't go that high. Now, if you know it or not, the bodily injury or the liability on the auto insurance is what pays out to the other party. So the state minimums are 1530, and that's where a lot of people are at. That just means that policy pays only 30,000 on your behalf for lost wages, pain and suffering, and um, damages basically resulting from a car accident. Now, that's probably not enough for most people. So, in that scenario, if you hit someone, how much is a life, how much is a life worth? And, obviously, they can't really be a number to it. But if, let's say that person was the breadwinner of that family that was taken out, it could be a heck of a lot. It could be into the millions of dollars that you owe that other family in damages, which you'll be on the hook for, unfortunately. Which is a good reason to have, not just insurance, but the right insurance.
You mentioned umbrella, so one of the live chats came in here and they said, "Can you go over umbrella policy? Like, she's a single mom living in an apartment, no real assets, but she has a teenager."
Mm. Yeah. Well, typically you want to get 1.5 in liability as you have in assets. It's a real good rule of thumb. But umbrella policies, they might sound like maybe complicated or expensive, but typically, let's say you're, basic family, two parents, two adults. Sorry, two kids, two adults. For $1 million worth of coverage for maybe like 3 cars, one home, it's probably only going to run you 250, $300 for the year. It's really not too much. What the umbrella does, it just extends your liability. So if, let's say, your auto policy would pay up to 100,000 on your behalf, well, actually, in the event of having an umbrella, you do need to increase your coverages a little bit. You have to have the $500,000 option on the auto insurance. Just means that your auto insurance will pay up to $500,000 on your behalf. You stack an umbrella on top of that, it extends it by $1 million. So that just means any car accident you're in, as long as you don't get sued for over $1.5 million, you can keep all your money in your bank account and somebody else's bank account.
Oh man.
Well, what's really nice about that as well, so let's say you don't have assets and, something terrible happens and your policies pays out and then you offer whatever you have. It may not be enough to make that family whole. And that's something that you'd probably have to live with as well. So having the higher limits as well also, will be a benefactor to, someone that you might potentially hurt. So I always look at it in that regard as well, that it's kind of like it's a good moral compass as well that, that you be able to provide to someone. And that's kind of like, and that's why you should also get into life insurance as well, just in case, unforeseen things happen. You want to make sure that you're insured for the right amounts as well. That was probably a lot of information at once, though.
That was a lot, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But luckily we got the replay, right?
Yeah,
So that's gonna
right.
that's gonna be that segue for housekeeping. Some new people just came on. Hey, if you guys are new for the live stream, make sure you guys go to the live chat and put in your questions and concerns, so that way me and John could answer them. And speaking about the live chat, there are a few more that came in. So I'm gonna address one of them right now from Chai Zong. If I have 10 homes and I file a claim against one of them, will it be affected? Will it affect me getting insurance later? And how many claims can I file before I can start until it starts to affect me getting a new policy?
Oh, that's a really good question. I love these questions. I thought it was going to be like, what is auto insurance?
We haven't gotten to those questions yet.
These are shooting hot fire at this point. I like that. Yeah, I mean, so that is a definitely something that we want to discuss. And you kind of set your expectations for insurance. Typically, you don't want your insurance policies paying for the hundreds of dollar claims. If something happened for like $800, $1,500, something like that. Sometimes it's best to take care of those things on your own. You're going to have to make decisions for yourself, obviously, if it's worth it for you or not. But let's say in the event you have 10 homes, right? Now you file one claim. That claim could affect the rest of those policies as well. It might increase the cost of those because thus, if you have one claim, the statistics are that you're going to have another one. You're just a higher likelihood of having another claim. So it's going to be factored into the risk. So that's how costs basically happen. You're going to get, your assets, how much it's worth. And then the other half of the cost is going to be associated how risky you are, basically. Now, sorry, excuse me.
No worries.
If you do file a claim, it's not certainly you want to use the insurance when you can, but I would just personally, file those claims for those, $1,000 claims, when it gets, very expensive. Then that's when the insurance really helps you out. And that's really what the insurance is for. Now, if you're getting three full claims on your record, typically about three, like three over $1,000, that's where you're going to start running into your insurability issues. Now, it doesn't mean you're uninsurable, but that's when some insurance carriers are going to start dropping off. If you have a liability claim, some insurance carriers won't cover you there either. Now, um, does that basically answer the question for you? It basically, in one breath, it could raise your rates. And, if you start getting 2, 3, 4 claims on your record in a 3 to 5 year span, you might start seeing some uninsurable possibilities as well.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's.
It's a big, pretty dry topic, unfortunately. But that's why I brought the water.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get more questions coming in, but then let's go over to the questions from the community that I posted about a week ago. So this one is from Georgina. Okay, she says, "I'm curious to know the fine prints or that we should pay attention to. Like, so she wants to know about the fine prints. Two, if umbrella insurance makes sense and how they work. I think you kind of went over that. And three, suggestions for owner-occupied multifamily homes."
Oh, awesome questions. Awesome questions. The first one there was the fine print. So we were kind of talking about this before, but the fine print's probably not going to get you. I guess maybe that's just more of an analogy. There's not going to be something written at the end of the policy that's going to say
You
something
gave your
crazy
life
wrong.
away.
Right. It's just like, hey, we won't cover you. Just kidding. But the details are really where you want to look at your policies. Now, to the regular person, it could be a little bit overwhelming. I'm just an insurance nerd, and anybody that works in the industry, it's kind of like 101. But something like, let's say, for example, actual cash value versus replacement cost. What do those mean, and what do they mean to you, basically? So, replacement cost means the insurance company will give you enough money to replace the item you had. So, if let's say you had a couch that was worth $1,000 and you had a fire, for that particular item, you would want the insurance carrier to pay you out close to $1,000 to replace that item, right? Not the couple $100 that it's worth today because it's a 5-year couch. Now, in your policy, you would like to see replacement value as often as possible. Now, it's pretty standard that personal contents are going to be that way, and the home is as well. Some policies may not include that though, so always have a look out for that. And then some insurance carriers, depending how old your roof may actually switch over to actual cash value versus replacement, which isn't a huge issue if you had, like, let's say a couple, shingles knocked off or something like that, or like, let's say a tree fell on your house and just punctured through the roof, and there was just a small amount of damage, like a couple $1,000s. Now, if you had a whole fire or something like that, and your roof now is hit, according to this insurance carrier, 15 years of its 20-year life, and they're going to pay you out, a percentage of what that roof is actually to replace, then you might have some issues there. So it just depends on which insurance carriers you go with. Liberty Mutual Insurance, a pretty good insurance carrier though, and same thing with your like AAA State Farms and stuff like that. Typically, those policies put together by those agents are going to have the coverages that you'd like and the coverages that you need, really. And then I think we've touched on the umbrella policy. I just highly recommend them. I think it's a great way to protect your assets. It's just a fantastic way for you to kind of set it and forget it in a way, and that you're covered, and you don't really have to have all this anxiety and stuff like that. If you're involved in a car accident, you just call up your insurance agent. You say, hey John, this happened, and then we take it from there. And then there's not this whole will they, won't they sue, what's going to happen to me. You just know that you're taken care of. And then what was the last question there? I think
The last question was suggestions for an owner-occupied multifamily unit.
Yeah, just yet again, you want to make sure you have the right policy for you. Now, that's going to be a combination. So you do have different policies. Typically, you have like your homeowners, you have your second residences, and then you have your investment properties, right? You just want to make sure that you get a policy that also has that coverage for a landlord, or sorry, a landlord portion of it, like a tenant. And if you do have tenants, get an umbrella policy because
Mm.
you might be able to control your own home to a certain degree. Not that you always can, but invited or not, if someone gets hurt on your property, you're responsible for it, unfortunately. And if you have an investment property, you're not going to be there, for the most part, unless you're spying on your tenants. But but some crazy stuff can happen, and a lot of times, that can come back onto you. I do have I had a couple scenarios I had here, and sometimes people are very astonished to what they can get sued for and what will get paid out on their behalf. But for one example, it was a 28-year-old engineer dove into a friend's above ground swimming pool and struck his head on the bottom and became a quadriplegic.
Mm.
So he made his own decision. He jumped into a pool. It wasn't like a kid or anything like that. He was a 28-year-old, assuming pretty smart guy, engineer. He sued both the homeowner and the pool manufacturer, actually.
Wow.
And the homeowner was found 60% responsible, and the pool manufacturer was found 40% responsible. And what paid out was $10 million. dollars.
Whoa.
So basically, he had, that's what I was going to earn, or whatever it is. This is what my costs are going to be. So, and that I assume was probably his friend, and but obviously he's going to try to make the right decisions for himself, and obviously that's an extreme example, but it's a fun day Sunday kind of situation, and changes the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, okay. Well, we got more questions coming in from the live chat, and so let me do a bit of a housekeeping real quick. If you guys are new to the live stream, make sure you guys put your questions in the live chat. We're gonna be going down the list here. We got a lot of good ones
Nice.
coming. So okay, so Ronan, Rome Empire. What's up, Rome Empire? Okay. Alley Cake says, we've been having a lot of wildfires and windstorms claims in California lately. Will that affect premium versus us being negligent causing a claim?
Mm. Do you mean like I guess I can't really answer a question with a question, but negligence is an important part of claims, and I can get into that a little bit later. It's basically like scenarios where, let's say, you had a tree that was super dried out and dead, and you knew it was a dead tree, and there was these issues, and maybe it was documented. That falls over and like hits something or something like that, you might run into some insurability issues there. Healthy tree gets blown over, or it seems reasonable, insurance will pay out. But there are those cases where, like, let's say something crazy, like there's something that was really a hazard on your property, and you just never took care of it, and you're like, whoops a daisy, that happened. There's probably a chance that it might still be paid for, but in those situations, it's best just to take care of things. So when it comes to negligence, but kind of get back on track. Yeah, wildfires in California is no joke. The insurance market that I saw when I first started, when I was a rookie rep, and kind of just getting started, probably googling a lot of the stuff that we're answering today just to kind of get a grasp on it and kind of going through training. Things were a lot more insurable 5 years ago. You'd be able to find standard coverage, which is like an admitted carrier, Liberty Mutual, State Farm, AAA, those kind of guys, and you'd be able to insure most places. Like, unless it was very, very brushy, like we like to say, very high fire hazard. These days, I lived in Loomis for about 5 years, and I lived on King Road. If you're familiar with that, that's just the beginning of Loomis. Anything past King Road these days is coming up brush. Parts of Granite Bay, uh, even certain parts of Sacramento. But Auburn, Placerville, all those spots are coming up kind of much harder to insure than they currently were, which reminds me of one of the questions that you had brought up earlier, like myths in the insurance game. And I remember, I think it was like myth number two was, I can get insurance at the end of buying a home. And I've unfortunately seen, the insurability kind of kill a deal for some people. Unfortunately, they find their dream home and they get really excited for it, and then they come to find out instead of the insurance being $600 to $800, it's $2,200, $2,500, all uninsured, or very hard to place coverage at all.
So let's
And
talk about that since you brought it up. So when I'm assisting a first time home buyer through the process, they submit an offer on a home. We're in escrow now. They get a call from their lender to start the loan application. Of course, they got to start the home insurance. I normally just let my lender work with my clients on the insurance part. And for what I know, I feel like most of the time the insurance is brought up like maybe halfway through the transaction, so maybe 2.5 weeks down the road. Is
mm,
that a good thing since maybe it's a 4 week close? Is it a good thing to do it in the first week when escrow, or when we get closer after maybe once we get a little bit more assurance that the home is gonna close?
yeah, I guess it depends on what your strategies are when you're coming into buying your home. Now, if you're like a pre-approved person, not that I'm an expert in loans or anything like that, all a realtor. That's why I have you around, and you can kind of school me on that kind of stuff. But if let's say you're pre-approved, right? You know that you're working with a lender, and it's as long as the home is a certain price and it values at that home price, I assume you can get that loan for the most part. That would probably be a good time to get the insurance involved. Now, if you're like, let's say you find a home and then you find a lender, and then you're still trying to see if it's going to work financially, for the first preliminary process, then maybe do that and then get your home insurance involved. But earlier the better. I mean, I've ran into some people that have been like, I'm looking at these 8 homes. Can you give me insurance quotes on these 8 homes? And I'm a people pleaser, a bit of a pushover sometimes. So sometimes stuff happens. Try to keep people happy for sure. But I wouldn't really advise that too much. That's probably a little bit of overkill. But if let's say you are shopping in a particular zip code and you find one home and you want to get that home, quoted, most homes are going to share like a similar risk variable in a way that, like, if you pluck one in one zip code, you probably find in that zip code, for the most part, you'll probably get a similar rate as long as the home is, equal value, equal age, stuff like that. Maybe some variance, 25% variance or something like that. But it's not a sure science, so that's like kind of the disclaimer here. But that's maybe a good way to do it. You get an insurance quote on one home that you like, and then maybe you buy 6 doors down or something like that. It's going to be a very similar price.
Okay, that's good to know. So, oh man, we got a lot more people that came on. Maybe I could do a little bit of housekeeping again. Okay, so it looks like got more people that came on. If you guys have questions, make sure you guys put them in the live chat. And if you guys haven't done so yet, make sure you guys like this video. It helps. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are not part of the Chi fams, because we do this every week. I just try to bring somebody on board every Friday, just so that way we can answer some of your questions or concerns. But let's go to the live chat. Was you done on that, or did you have more to add to that, John?
No, no, I'm good. I could probably talk forever though.
Same here, same here. So no worries on that. I have no issues with that. But let's go on to the live chat. Okay, so Chai says, "Does umbrella policy covers me if I'm riding my skateboard and I kill someone? What would cover me first before the umbrella?"
So that would be coming down to your home insurance. That's really what's going to protect you in those events. But yeah, that's I like that scenario. You must be doing something pretty wild on your skateboards if you're smashing into people and taking them out. Is this the same person that did the texting driving
Yep.
student drunk?
Oh
Okay,
no 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 no, it's
no,
not.
different. I was like, you're on skateboards, your kids drinking and driving. Oh man, like living a wild life. But yeah, so typically people have 100 to 500,000 on their homes. Depending on where you're getting your coverage. Most good agents are going to put you around 500,000, I would say, especially in California. I mean, the horror stories really come from California when it comes to suing. Someone
Of
tripped, someone
course.
sneezed, you owe me $500,000. And the lawyers here are pretty good. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, so your home insurance would kick in then. And then that umbrella insurance, if you had the additional million, would then kick in. So let's say you had 500,000. You'd have 1.5 to lose before your assets start getting touched at that point or taken from you. Nice thing about an umbrella, though, it can protect you for things that your home insurance won't protect you for. Let's say in the event you said something that offended someone, libel and slander. Umbrella policies are going to cover you for that. Home insurance is not going to cover you for that. If you offend someone, there was a another scenario that I brought up earlier. Basically, it was just there was a young student that was saying some things about her history teacher online, basically just kind of what's it called, slandering him in that way. He actually sued the family, and he got $750,000.
Mm.
So I mean, worst case scenario, a little bit of a horror story, but it's out there, and people can sue you for pretty much anything,
Oh
unfortunately,
my
um,
gosh.
if they're willing to prove it. So
Greed gets to the best of us, I guess.
I think, yeah,
That's what it is, man.
yeah, that, and then I think it's like when it really kind of boils down to it. Not that I'm an expert in this at all, but it's like settlements and stuff like that. It's like, are we going to take this to court? What do you think you can get? What are we going to risk? And stuff like that.
I think that's a good thing to note to self, right? If you know you're a annoying, stubborn person and people probably don't like you, you should probably get insurance, so that if
I
you get sued, you're covered.
yeah. I guess so. Yeah. I guess you'd have
I'm
to be
just
pretty
playing.
self-aware.
You gotta be pretty self-aware, you know. You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
be
I'm aware.
accepted
Like,
too.
no, people don't like me. That's why I have high insurance.
Oh man, okay. Well, let me go down the live chat right here again. From Allie Cakes, can you give us your insurance coverage you have for yourself? She's asking for a friend.
Oh, that's good. That's always good. I've had that question before, like it's like I get to the end of, the whole pitch or whatever it is, and they're like, "Well, who do you have your insurance through?" And I think that's always a good question. Yeah, the Liberty
Not through
Mutual.
Liberty Mutual.
Hey, yeah, that's who I'm through. Liberty Mutual Insurance, and I have high limits. I got myself an umbrella insurance policy as well, which is, really not too costly, which is nice. Kind of if you didn't catch it in the beginning, for your standard family, for $1 million worth of liability coverage is not as much as you might think. You might think that you're going to be paying, an arm and a leg, but maybe $200 to $300, 250, $300 for $1 million worth of liability coverage, extending all your limits to that, $1 million mark. Um, Sometimes it does increase the cost of the underlying policies. Most of the times you need to have at least 300,000 on the home, and then the half million on the auto insurance for the total limit. And that's kind of what I hold. I think it's, if you got to practice what you preach. I can't just be
Right.
rolling around here with no insurance, hitting people with my skateboard, uh, taking them out.
Suing people left and right.
Absolutely.
Okay, are you good?
Oh yeah, yeah. I just one button.
Okay, so the same person says, my sister lives in Butte County and they can't get flood or fire insurance anymore because of all the issues prior.
Mm. Which county?
Butte County.
Oh wow, yeah.
I used to call it Butt County.
That's what I used to call it too. And then I went to Chico State, and then they didn't like that so much. Then they told me what was up at that point. Yeah, that's a real concern. Now, for flood insurance, though, there is FEMA flood insurance, and I'm pretty sure you could still get flood insurance through the federal government. That's what it's kind of set up for, is even in the event that there is a huge catastrophic claim, as long as you weren't someone that was, I don't know. I'm not sure what the circumstances would be that you denied, but um, personally, I have about, well, not personally, professionally, excuse me. We have about 2 to 3 flood insurance carriers that we work with. One is FEMA, which is backed by the federal government, and then we have some private ones as well. So I'd probably suggest to that person, have they looked for any private flood insurance if they can't get it through FEMA, or vice versa? Try to look for your options as well. Um, Butte, on the other hand, when it comes to fire, yeah, that's a real concern. That's probably where I see most of my concerns is that fire coverage. Now, if you're not aware, you have your admitted carriers, which are like Liberty Mutual Insurance, like kind of your name brand insurance. You see them all around. That's going to be an admitted carrier. Non-admitted carriers operate outside of California or outside of the country, like Lloyd's of London, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they provide coverage here, or Orchid Insurance, which we work with. And then your last resort is California Fair Program. Now, that is set up by California, and that's just going to cover you for things like fire, smoke damage, internal explosion, and maybe one or two other things. Very basic coverage, and it's just going to protect your home, and it's going to be very expensive. But you can couple that policy with something called a difference in condition policy, which protects you for like the liability and the vandalism and water backup coverage and stuff like that. If you put those together, you get yourself a full policy there. And typically,
Mm.
99% of people can qualify for those, as long as you're, in good standing and you haven't ripped off the fair program before or something like that. But
Got it.
if they're running into, uninsurable scenarios, I think there might be some options for them that maybe they're not looking at, because that's what those programs are set up to do, is to basically help people that can't get any insurance. Maybe it's really expensive, but there should be some options.
Cool. You good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Do I
Next
not look good?
question. No, you look really good, and your
Oh, okay.
informations are very overwhelming, but good.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll shoulder. I
No,
am
don't
just
even
a
worry about it.
super
Cause this
detail
is new.
oriented kind of
This
guy.
is new information for me. Like I said earlier, I normally leave all of this insurance stuff to my lenders, so I
Mhm.
don't really pay attention to it. But that was wrong of me. I need to know more about this. So I'm glad you came on the show today. It educated me.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I can keep the answers a little bit short. I just know that you can you save and archive these, right? So if
I do,
any of this bit basically interests anyone, and they can stomach to hear it again, maybe just rewind it and kind of listen to those parts
for
that maybe
sure.
are
For the
most
replay.
interesting.
For the
Yeah,
replay. If you guys are
there we
joining for the replay, you guys can rewind as much as you can, but make sure you guys be part of the Chi fans and subscribe.
yeah, there we go. Like and comment, subscribe. Absolutely.
Yes, yes. So the next comment is from Irv Green. Love your videos. I just joined. Sorry if you already spoke about this, but what is PMI and how long do you need to keep it? Good question, and we did talk about this in the prior live stream, but that's why we do this, so that way I can answer your questions live and engage with you guys. So thank you for the questions. Don't apologize. But PMI, private mortgage insurance, if you, depending on the loan you're using to buy your home, if you're using FHA, unfortunately, it doesn't matter how much equity you have in your home, PMI is going to stay there forever.
Hmm.
Conventional, if you use conventional to buy a home, when your equity reaches 20%, your PMI gets knocked off. So that might be something to consider if you're a first time home buyer and you're thinking of long term, because conventional might be the better option for you if you want to eventually lower your payments automatically because that equity. But with FHA, it stays on there forever,
Hmm.
unfortunately, unless you refinance out into a conventional. But that 20% equity has to be there. So it's going to have to be an 80% loan to value. Okay, meaning that it's 80% of the value of the home. So if the home was worth 100K, then your loan has to be at least $80,000 and below in order for you to be able to knock off your PMI. So just another thing for you to consider. But yeah, PMI. That's all about PMI right there. Now, next question is from Ali Cakes. I never thought about getting a quote before buying when common sense is not common. That's true. Not bad getting a quote. It's just a quote, right? Insurance quote. So that's not a bad thing. And then another one, Alley Cake, slander, offending. Looks like I'm gonna need an umbrella policy.
It depends how much of I guess how much trash you talk. I guess at that point, you're going
How
out
many
there
people
just
you
saying whatever you
offend?
want. Yeah. I guess it also depends what kind of people you're offending. It depends how sensitive they are, I guess.
That's
Or
true. That's true. If they don't have the capacity to withstand your offensive words, then yeah, you might want to consider getting an umbrella policy.
yeah, that's why umbrella's good for me as well. Because not that I talk trash or whatever it is, but
People
I
probably don't like it when you call them mate.
Yeah, it's fighting words probably, at that point, they're like, what are you talking about? But
I'm
yeah,
not your mate.
I like to mildly bully my buddies and stuff like that as well. That's how I show love, and hopefully I don't get sued by one of them one day.
Oh man. Okay, well let's go on with down the list. Georgina Ching, hey guys, just joined. Hope I don't miss much. Nope, you didn't miss much. We're 30 minutes, well, we're 40 minutes in now, but again, you can always go back and watch the replay. But thanks for joining, Georgina. You're always on these live streams. You, Chai, Alley Cakes, and a few others. So thanks so much for joining. Make sure you guys like the video, though, okay? That helps. Chai Zon says, should I even shop around for insurance quotes if you're saying that house insurance should be similar in the same county? If so, do I look for what do I look for to separate them from the rest?
You're talking about like the particular insurance policies, I guess.
Yeah, home
Well,
insurance.
I'll probably start one step behind there. Find yourself a good agent. You know, typically, if you find yourself a pretty straight and narrow agent, they're going to probably do the best thing for you. I've been in the event of like, let's say I'm quoting someone's auto insurance, and what they have is pretty good, and what I have is maybe a lot more than they're currently paying. Because sometimes you can't win them all. I've told people to stay with their current insurance carriers as long, and I've had a couple suggestions. Hey, maybe you want to bump up this coverage, maybe you want to move that around,
Mm.
but I don't think the number's going to work. Um, so I would start with good people, like Chia. You don't have to really shop your real estate agents as long as you know you got a good one, and he's gonna do some work for you. And then and he has great connections like Lisa as well. That's a great lender, and you don't really have to shop those people around too much as long as you got a good one. And both of those people, are excellent. Now, with Liberty Mutual Insurance, I do have the option to quote you with Liberty Mutual, but I also have access to about 10 other carriers.
Oh.
So, and we introduced that program primarily for Brush, and that's how the program started. It's like, hey, if Liberty Mutual can't write this, let's get a piece of the pie, in a different
Mm.
way, and we can keep our clientele because before that it was, I can't help you on the home, and most people are like, well, if you can't help me on the home, then I probably don't want to have my auto here or my umbrella here either.
Mm.
I want to have everything with one person, one person I can trust.
So
So in
let's
that
talk
regard,
about that. That's
yeah,
what considered bundling, right?
yeah, absolutely, bundling.
Is
Bundling is where you
bundling
say,
good? Like, do you recommend bundling? Cause I only know about that from the commercials. Like why
yeah,
bundle or keep them separate or whatever? Like, what do you recommend?
a lot of images of Geico come to mind at this point when it comes to of geckos. Excuse me, but when I hear things like that, but yeah, bundling I think is a fantastic way to one organize your life. Have one person, one company to deal with. I think that's a fantastic way to do stuff. Sometimes people, and typically you could save good money that way. Typically 10% off both policies. On top of that, if you get your umbrella, you get some discounts. With Liberty Mutual, I can place you with either Liberty Mutual or one of our affiliates,
Mm.
and they're just as highly rated as Liberty Mutual. So basically, that means that we pay our claims and we, do what's right, and we have enough money to pay those claims as well. And that's a real
It,
important thing.
isn't that considered going to your competition though? Because you're representing Liberty Mutual, right?
Right.
So why would you go with another company that's outside of Liberty Mutual?
It just depends. So let's say you are in a brush location and Liberty Mutual can't write it. We were going to get zero of nothing at that point, right? We're going to get we're going to get none of that at that point, and we maybe would lose the client. We might
Mm.
lose that relationship.
Yeah.
I might have someone for 20 years, but they lived in Rockland and now they want to live in Auburn, and now I can't be their insurance agent. That doesn't sound very good to me. So what we implemented in the last 5 years is just this broker in a lot of ways a broker program, and maybe you can have your home with foremost, but you have your auto and your umbrella with Liberty,
Mm.
and that's just fine with us. Someone asked me about that today. Actually, they were like, "Is that like a conflict of interest
Right.
or stuff like?" Because it sounds maybe not the right thing, but it definitely works on the business side.
Mm.
And it helps the clients most of all. The program wouldn't be successful if it didn't help if people weren't doing it or if people weren't buying into it, it would have ended year 2, year 3. But we're like year 5 now, and it's going strong.
No, that's great. That's great. That's good to know that you're not limited to just your own firm, So that's good to know. Okay. Here's this next question from the community. Matthew. His question is, what are some of the myths of insurance claims? Like, if your house is damaged from fire, do you need to fix it up before receiving a claim?
So that one could be a little bit complicated. Now, there are instances where maybe you could just get the money, but there's going to be a couple things that need to be satisfied before that. Most of us, I like to say sometimes, the bank owns a home and they just let me live there. You might owe, 80% on your home, 90% on your home, 95% on your home. So if your home, unfortunately, say has a catastrophic fire or something like that, the bank is probably going to want you to rebuild the home and get that, damage repaired and stuff like that.
Mm,
If you own your home outright, then you might have some options when it comes to getting paid out. But there might be some other factors depending on like HOAs or what the county wants to do with that land. But I have heard like in the Paradise fires where a lot of people didn't rebuild, a lot of people just took their money and went somewhere else.
mm.
So that is a thing. Some other myths I wrote down here, like let's see, myth number two, we talked about this already. Insurance can wait until the end of till the end of the purchase for the
Yeah,
home.
we did
You can
mention
wait
that.
until just before you buy it. Myth three, my dog is covered for liability by the home insurance. Now, that is true as long as some dogs are not covered actually. So if
Some
it falls under,
dogs?
yeah, some dogs like technically like an aggressive
Pit bull, huh?
pit bull. It's kind of what like you imagine. Even though I know pit bulls are super sweet,
Yeah.
and a lot of people there's a lot of hate for it, and I don't
Oh my
necessarily agree sometimes, but
gosh.
that is built into a lot of policies. Liberty Mutual, we can insure those dogs as long as they hit like they're spayed and neutered, no bite history, things like that. So you can get those things on, but make sure that fine print that we talked about before. Just make sure at the end of the policy, it won't be little. It'll probably be like this much. And ask the agent that's helping you, hey, does this cover my particular dog?
Mm.
Depending on the company, it may be a small list or a bigger list. But just like you said, pit bulls are typically number one. Your Rottweilers and stuff like that, which is sometimes crazy because
Yeah.
I remember when I first got into the business, the person I work with, Melissa, told me that the biggest claim she's ever had, or at least with someone in the office, if I remember correctly, in Chihuahua. Uh, uh, Basically sitting on someone's lap and nipped her face, and then the girl was a model, and then
Oh my
and
gosh.
X amount of dollars were paid out based on that, and that was a little lap dog. So that was covered, but make sure you got the right
Man.
policy for you.
Oh yeah, that's so good to know. I just learned something today. I did not know that, and it looks like some of the viewers, like Alley Cages, learned something too about dogs.
No, absolutely. You want to make sure that you
Man,
have that coverage.
that's crazy. All right, well, Georgina Chang, she has a question. It's we recently got a few quotes from State Farm, Farmers, and AAA, all your competitors.
So there you go. Hey, besides me, what's
um,
what's going on?
to their surprise, AAA was so much cheaper than the other two at similar coverage. How come AAA was less? Is it because they covered less? Like, what are your
Oh,
insights?
not necessarily true. Not necessarily true at all. Now, like if we think about, you know, think about it like this in a lot of ways. Like you have a lot of people that make cars, right? And they're all in business and they all have their little target, demographic or, target, whatever it is. And, it may or may not be expensive to that particular demographic or whatever it is. Same thing with insurance carriers. Sometimes we're competitive, in XYZ zip code. Sometimes we're more competitive for these kinds of homes. And
Mm,
and that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles. That's why there's probably so many insurance carriers, if we think about it. Now, maybe for your particular circumstances, AAA might be the best option for you. I won't say, 100% that the coverages weren't less, but I do know that AAA is a good company. Farmers is a good company, and State Farm are all very good companies. They're all rated, I believe, in the highest AAA rating or AAA plus rating when it comes to insurance. So I won't say anything bad about those insurance companies at all because I think they're actually pretty guys. Um, I would say it comes down to that agent. Most of those policies are going to have that replacement value that we talked about instead of that actual cash value, which is great. But maybe AAA, the way the cookie crumbled, was just fantastic for you. And sometimes that's just the way it goes. And then sometimes price can be um, competitive. If it's way, way different, if we're talking thousands of dollars for the insurance, then I would say price is a huge factor. Now,
Right.
let's say the difference is a couple $100 a year. I would advocate go with the guy that makes you feel the most trustworthy at that point. Whoever you think is going to give you the best service, because the difference of a couple $100 a year is really not going to be that huge for most people. But when you're having your worst day, you want to make sure that call is picked up, and that'll be the best news on your worst day, as we like to say sometimes in the insurance business.
Yep.
Want to make sure you have that right coverage for you.
No, that's good. Oh man, I love the question, Chi fams.
Yeah, I love these questions. These are fantastic. I thought I was going to get
It's
some
awesome.
snowball questions.
I haven't even gone to the community comments yet, so
Oh,
because you guys have such good ones. Here's another one from Chai Zong. Thoughts about those roof companies that can get you a new roof, who usually come out as a winner, the owner or the roof company.
hmm.
Oh, who usually comes out as a winner, the owner or the roof company?
When it comes
Thoughts
to
about that?
replacing a roof?
Yeah. So maybe he's referring to like maybe he's referring to like a home insurance claim, to where like a homeowner will file for a claim for a roof.
Oh, well, we'll pay what's fair and reasonable. We do have a lot of contractors that we work with. If you've ever been involved, most people don't have as many home claim experiences to rely on. So sometimes I bring it back to the auto side, which isn't 100% the same as home. But if you ever had like, let's say, car accident, and then you called your insurance carrier and they're like, "Hey, go to Caliber Insurance. They're in our network. We guarantee that work for lifetime or something like that." If that sounds familiar, that might be what maybe he's referring to, is like, who, like, is the roof company going to make more money, or the client?
Yeah.
We'll pay what's fair and reasonable, and typically whatever the price is, we'll typically pay that, unless we think we're getting ripped off, and then we might negotiate with that roofer at that point. But if it's fair and reasonable, you're both going to make out fine. The roof company is going to have some business, and your insurance is going to take care of that cost for you. Minus your deductible. But
Is there normally like a time frame that a insurance company will start covering your home? Like let's say my buyer just got the keys yesterday and next week the roof shingle starts flying off. Can they start making claims on the home right away or no?
yeah, absolutely. Whenever that policy starts, I mean, you know, it happens. Sometimes people buy a home, and then the next day, they got excited, they had a party, maybe too much wine, left the oven on or something like that, and burnt their brand new home down. We're going to cover that as long as the policy was, enforced at that time.
Right.
And we're going to cover that. But I mean, obviously, as long as it's, not fishy.
Of course. So it brings me to my next question. I don't know how comfortable you're gonna feel answering this, but
All right.
I normally give my some of my clients a strategy when it comes to buying a home. Like if they come across a home that they really like, but the roof was really bad,
Mm.
I would tell them buy it, and if the roof leaks, do an insurance claim. How do you feel about that? Because maybe let's say the owner doesn't want to replace a $20,000 roof,
Mm.
and the buyer doesn't want to replace it, but the buyer still loves the home.
Mm. Well, like if there's a leak in the roof, you could have.
It's not gonna leak. It's not leaking currently,
Right. Okay.
but during that year, if it does leak, do a claim.
Yeah, I
It's
guess if
cheaper
it's
than
a,
replacing
if
it
it's a,
yourself.
well, I guess you're accepting the home with the risk that it has, and so is the insurance company in a certain regard, right? As long as nothing was, let's say, like we say, like misleading of materials, um, like lying about something. You say, "Oh, this roof is brand new," because that will give you like a credit factor and stuff like that. You get a little bit off on your home insurance if your roof is brand new. But if it's a 20-year-old roof, the insurance carrier might not accept it, depending on like the age of it. So if it's like, let's say it's an asphalt shingles roof, if it's over
Hmm.
20 years, you may not be able to place coverage with that insurance carrier. So you want to make sure that insurance carrier is, rating it correctly and the most accurate information on that point. But yeah, obviously, let's say the roof is 19 years old and you get the coverage, and then there's a leak later that year. It's going to be covered under the insurance at that point. But
As
then
long as
you're
they accept it.
as long as it's, as long as it's a straight and narrow, most cases, you know, you can the coverage will kick in, obviously, as long as you're not trying to be deceitful in a way. But I understand what you're asking. But let's say, it's only a couple $1,000s worth of damage. If you have a $1,500 or
Oh yeah.
$2,500 deductible, it's probably not going to work in your best interest. And let's say it's $5,000 worth of damage. You're getting a $2,500 benefit. You're going to have to pay $2,500 of it, and then you have a claim on your record, and then your rates might go up a little bit as well, depending on
Mm.
what particular claim it was. Was it due to wind? Was it just due to you know a roof decaying and a little bit of rain? It might factor in there. Maybe that was dodging the question a little bit, but
No, 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 no.
if
That's
you want
good.
to ask a follow up one, that's totally fine as well.
And if like the claims, let's say a homeowner files a claim and their rates go, how long does the rates normally stay up until it goes back to normal or go
Oh,
down for
excellent
that
question.
matter?
So typically you'll get a surcharge of 3 years. It doesn't mean it's going to be a huge amount, but you'll get some kind of surcharge. Um, Talking about Liberty Mutual Insurance, that's true. And if you haven't had a claim for 5 years or never had a claim, you get an extra 20% discount.
Oh,
So that's something to factor in. So sometimes the first claim hurts the most because you're getting a surcharge and you're losing a discount. So
good to
I
know.
mean, but use the insurance if you got it and you think it's the
Of
right move for
course.
you. Use the insurance. I will never discourage someone trying to use the insurance if they want to use it. Use the insurance if it's thousands of dollars, but just make sure you're strategizing, just like kind of like you are in a way. Make sure you're doing the right moves for yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely what I always give my tips to. But okay, so let's move on to the next question. Man, I don't think we're gonna be able to finish all the comments from the community. I apologize in advance. So we might have to do a part two, John.
I don't know if it'd be this popular.
But Chai said, "What are you doing to save on home insurance policies? It's like a huge expense that we rarely use. So I want to know tips to save on this expense."
Yeah, I mean, well, bundling number one. You know, if that's going to be a huge concern, like budget wise, then bundle in that auto insurance, bundle in that umbrella insurance, depending on what your situation is. Bundle in your life insurance, depending on who you're talking to. You can get some great discounts that way as well. But insurance is typically something, you get what you pay for in a lot of ways.
Mm,
Obviously, you get those cases where the AAA is so much cheaper than the State Farm, as long as it was very similar coverage or whatever it was. But, you know, you can get like alarm discounts. Let's say you have like a fire alarm or fire alarm or burglar alarm. You get some credits for that. If you have a newer roof, let your insurance agent know. You can get those as well. And then sometimes your associations are actually fantastic discounts as well. Liberty Mutual, we offer uh, great discounts actually for like depending on your associations. Your employer might be an
oh,
affiliate of Liberty Mutual. That's how we do some of our marketing. Some colleges have affiliations with Liberty Mutual as well, and you can get additional discounts that way. So that might be a way to strategize. But if your home, let's say, is maybe an older home built in the 40s, your rating factor is a little bit worse than maybe a home that was built in 2020. 2020 home is
mm,
going to get the best rates because it's a brand new home, and the chances
less
of a
risk.
leaky roof or chances of some wall collapsing or something like that are much less because it's brand new compared to maybe a much older home. So you might be falling, maybe your particular home might be a little bit more expensive than some others.
What about security cameras and smart locks and all that? Doesn't that help too?
Well, I do work with an insurance carrier that actually they send you a monitor alarm and they give you a discount for it and they don't charge you for it.
Ah, so it
So
just
what
depends on the company then.
Right, yeah. So it depends on what company it has, but this particular system, you put it behind you like your washing machine. You put one in your living room for carbon monoxide, and what they're doing is basically they're hedging their bets in a way. They're helping you detect claims before they happen. Water pooling up
Yeah.
behind your washing machine, right? Now, if you are, oh, I don't know that was there, and then you have a $10,000 water, claim to your home for worth of damages, that's going to cost them $10,000 to make you right. Now,
Mm,
if you had a water detector back there and they gave you a little bit of a discount to incentivize you to put it there, then, you mop that up before it becomes 10 G's on the ground, and, everyone walks away happy. So things like that help. Also, living in a secure neighborhood, if you're in a, let's say, gated community, you get a discount for that.
that's so good to know.
A lot of these will be answered by like an insurance agent if you're working with them. We love looking for discounts because we know that, normally people's number one concern is budget, and it's a realistic thing.
Got it. Man, but you know what, man? I hate to end the show. It's already 8 o'clock, man, and I got a date to go to.
Absolutely, man.
So I think we're gonna have to end it here, man. We didn't even get to go through half the questions that the community sent out, but I wanted to respect and honor your time. Thank you so much for taking this time out to join this live stream, John.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, because we didn't go through all the questions, like if you guys want him back, like, subscribe, comment. If you guys are watching this for the replay, like, just let me know. I'll bring John back because there's still so many important things I felt we didn't even get to talk about. So, like personal items and all that, So, yeah, I think we need to schedule another time for you to come back on the show, John. All right, you okay with that, man?
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually a lot of fun. It kind of flew by. Um,
I told you it was gonna fly by. I'm like looking at the time, I'm like, oh man, it's already an hour. This is so good. I got so many things to go for. But on that note, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back next Friday. I have another special guest on. It won't be John, but again, if you guys want John back, just let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and comment down below so that way I could bring John back because of course, he has a livelihood too. So I gotta make sure he's free. And then that's it. I'm gonna end it here, man.
okay, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on, man. That was awesome.
Yep. Thank you, Chichi fans. Later. See you guys next time.
Cheers.